Hey, on my Travel Ones podcast today, I'm lucky to have Steve Cardenas. How are you today, Steve?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm hanging in there. It's a good week so far. I want to say thanks for giving me your time. I know you're traveling about as much as I am, if not more. I guess your background is you're probably most well known for being the Red Ranger of the Power Ranger series.
Yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and then we did Power Rangers Zeo as well, and a little bit of the Turbo season as well, if you're familiar with all of those different incarnations.
Exactly. And you're also a martial arts expert, so I mean that kind of goes along with it.
I don't know. I don't know if you call it an expert. I mean, I've been training for about 30 years, but nobody's ever an expert. You know what I mean?
Well, more so than others. How's that?
Right.
I was really excited to talk to you. Growing up, I was not a big Power Rangers fan. However, I'll tell you, I don't think most people would consider how much traveling you have to do now for what you do, which is going to Comic Cons and all that. How much of the year are you on the road?
Well, if you total it all up, it comes out to about 9 months out of the year. I'm touring. It's it's usually like home for a couple of days, then gone for 4 days, so to speak. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a lot of back and forth.
What's the hardest part for you traveling?
Well, I mean, honestly, the hardest thing, I guess, really is just your butt is in an airplane seat a lot. So that just takes up a lot of time, and obviously, home life. I don't get a lot of time to do the things that normal people get to do, errand wise and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But fortunately for me, I'm my kid's grown up and I live by myself, so it's pretty easy. And like as far as like I'm not putting a lot of stress in the home life that like most other people might have. Like if they've got a wife and kids and stuff and they're not around. So,
sure.
I feel fortunate, at this particular time of my life, that I don't have those things to restrict me, so to speak. So, that's been good because, that's really given me the opportunity to see a lot of parts of the world, which is pretty interesting,
Are you mainly traveling to like Comic Cons or just different? How's that?
Yeah, it's mainly all just for Comic Con, but there's Comic Cons that are held in different cities every weekend all over the world. And so I get invited individually by promoters, from different conventions. They're all independently run and operated, just depending on what the promoter's looking for that year and what they want to bring to their show. Then they'll either invite me or not. But usually, like I said, it's like I might do a show 1 year and then maybe not do it again for 2-3 more years.
Right. Well, and like you said, they're all individual different promoters. So I mean, your scheduling must just be, in my eyes, a nightmare. Just because you're dealing with a whole bunch of different people.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like anything else. You know what I mean? Like once you get a routine of it, you know what I mean. And these things are usually worked out, months in advance. You have quite a few months to like, get travel arrangements all squared away and set up and time to promote, on like my page and time for the promoters to promote on their pages and so on and so forth to, let the fans know where I'm going to be and whatnot.
I mean, so you sound very similar to my traveling musicians who are setting up tour dates, months in advance.
Yeah, same. It's the same kind of thing. Exactly. You need time to get the word out there in the particular city that you're going to be in, so that enough people will come to your event.
Yeah. And like I've seen some of the events online where you have autograph slicks and you have banners that you have to put up, and you're traveling with not too much stuff, but you still have to carry some equipment around.
Yeah, I bring quite a bit of stuff with me, and I also bring a lot of merchandise with me as well too, and things like that, because the fans want cool collectibles. Sometimes they don't just want autographs; they want action figures, T-shirts. I have all kinds of things that I do, and I have lots of vendors that I work with as well too. And so but I do travel with quite a few things as well. So it's never like just grab a carry-on bag for the weekend and
exactly
and hit the road kind of thing,
I don't think a lot of people can appreciate that.
Right.
You know,
yeah, exactly.
they just see you sitting behind the desk going, "Oh, he just showed up. That's cool."
Yeah, right, exactly. They don't know all the behind the stuff that's involved, of course.
Yeah,
you know?
the 6 months of planning and, we're talking
Yeah.
to the promoter in advance and making all the arrangements.
Yeah. Exactly. But I mean, it shouldn't. We don't want the fans to have to think about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? We just want them to come and enjoy the experience. You know.
Yeah, if it goes smooth, they shouldn't know.
I'm sorry.
If everything goes smooth, they shouldn't know.
Right.
Okay,
exactly.
but it's
exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when I go to a concert, I'm not thinking, some of the musicians I've talked to, you sit there and you go to a concert, and you go, okay, they showed up and they leave. You don't see the 4 truckloads of gear and all the people behind the stage.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't think about the fact that they just came from Duluth, Minnesota, and then they're going to be going to, Honolulu the next day. You know, I mean, like, it's crazy sometimes the way they get bounced around. You know.
Well, my daughter was very fortunate to work on the social media of a band that toured around the country, and so we'd FaceTime, and she's like, "Oh, we're starting in Florida, then we're in Georgia, and and 2 days later we'll be in South Carolina, and then 2 days after that we'll be in Virginia, and then 2 days after that we'll be in New York." And it was just every 2 days they were showing up in a new town.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd get done breaking down the event at 2 or 3 in the morning, get in the bus, fall asleep, wake up in a completely different state.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately for me, it's not quite that crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would imagine that can definitely get pretty grueling, but I definitely understand what they're talking about. That's for sure.
Exactly. Being a martial artist, and I know you had your own jiu-jitsu gym I'm from Los Angeles, so being on the road, how do you stay in shape? What do you do? What's your little secret?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's definitely harder,
Yeah.
It's harder on the road to eat right, and find the right kind of foods all the time. And sometimes, especially doing jujitsu, I mean, you need to find places that actually have jiu-jitsu schools that you can go and like maybe try to train at and things like that.
Just do a drop in, yeah.
So it sometimes, I just don't get to train as much as I'd like to these days, unfortunately. But what I do try to do is when I am home, is I try to make the most of it, maximize on it, when I'm home, and then obviously try not to get too crazy with the foods that I eat, And really, I mean, if you're just regimented about things, you can usually keep yourself in fairly okay shape, even when you can't do as much working out as you'd like to.
Do you travel with a gi? Do you bring it with you, or?
Yeah, sometimes. Like there's certain places that I'm going to go, and I know, like I know the academy and the instructors and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always going to bring a gi and try to like go and get some training in if I can, but I don't always bring it with me. But the cool thing too is that especially with jiu-jitsu, I mean,
go to a no-gi class.
It's such a fraternity. It's like they'll just hey, we've got a gi you can use. You know what I mean? Like no problem.
Yeah.
One of those kind of things. So if it came down to that, I always have that as an option.
Yeah, you're the 3rd black belt I've had on my show.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm just always curious, like, do you think that the same drive you had to become a black belt in karate or taekwondo and then now jiu-jitsu, do you think that helped you in the rest of your facets of your life?
Well,
meaning, you just had a structure and you had persistency.
Right. I mean, I think, of course it because, I mean, it teaches you like to have a certain kind of discipline and a kind of work ethic, that sometimes a lot of other people just don't necessarily have. And I think that translates, because it's like, I've got to be like, I handle a lot of my own bookings as well too. So I have to be diligent about, like making sure that I'm, dealing with, all the different promoters and things like that. So, if I was like, didn't have the same kind of work ethic, then, I think that could probably fall short for sure. But I mean, it's a big part of my livelihood, so I definitely, am diligent with putting the work in that I need to, in order to keep the touring going and stuff.
Well, it just seems like, at least the ones I've run into, most of the people that have been very or successful in training a martial art, they're successful in other aspects. So it's just kind of interesting that you're like literally the third one I've gone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, I mean, I don't really want to, be the guy who's like, oh yeah, I work harder than other people. You know what I mean? Like, because there are certain people that do more. But I think that the training that I had certainly, lends itself to, the aspects of what I do now. I don't see how they could not. I mean, they're just part of they're part of my life, and part of like just when my mind has been trained and disciplined, So, I think it does carry over into other things, But then, there's times when I can be really lazy too, especially after I've been traveling. You know what I mean? Like I'm good. Like, oh God, I got like 2 days. I'm not gonna do anything for like 2 days right now, especially on the overseas trips and stuff.
Yeah.
When I get back home, it's definitely, I need a couple of days to recharge my batteries, kind of, so to speak.
Well, like you said earlier, for me, it's like, okay, I got to get the car washed, I got to get it, oil change, I got to get the brake job, I got to go to that dentist,
right?
I got to get to the doctor's. Oh, I got to get my new shoes. I got to, all of a sudden you're like, because I'm home and I'm leaving.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Sometimes I got to cram a few things in, and do a couple days, and then sometimes you're like, I just don't want to do it, But I think that's important though. You know what I mean? Like you got to give yourself a little bit of balance too. You kind of like say to yourself, okay, like what's super crucial, like do I really need to go and and have my car washed this week, you know what I mean, or while I'm in town, or do I really, you know what I mean? Like, so certain things, I can just be like, I'll handle that next week when I come back, kind of thing, you know what I mean? Otherwise, if I'm just constantly just go, then I can't be, the best that I can be for the fans, you know what I mean? And, even though I've done this 1,000 times, it's their first experience, and I don't want to have, all the other things that I have to handle in my life be, an effect on, the experience that they have, just because I'm tired and not ready to see them and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, so it's important to kind of just give yourself that, leeway a little bit and be like, it's okay to take a couple days to recharge your batteries before you get back on the road again, kind of thing. So, it's like anything, you just get used to it all,
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, one of the guys I talked to is a drummer, and I said he's been playing the same song. He's had a couple of hits with his band.
Right.
Like, how do you play that song 15 years later?
Right.
You know what I mean? And he goes, yeah. I always think that there's a lot of people in the crowd that have never heard the song before.
Right.
So however I play it this time is how they're going to remember it.
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, like I just went to the Morrissey concert. It was here in Dallas, like maybe like a couple weeks ago, and it was like, some of these songs are 30 years old or
30
more,
years, yeah.
I'm like, oh man, but it's like you get that experience, so I mean, I look at it from the perspective like, oh, he's singing this song again for the 8 millionth time or whatever, but as a fan being there and experiencing that, I really appreciated it,
Exactly.
So I try to look at it from both sides.
What do you listen to when you're traveling? Because you do a lot more flying. Like for me, my territory is California and Hawaii, so I'm usually driving quite a bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, now the driving thing, I'm not a big fan of. You know what I mean? I just, it's like, I live in Texas, and it's like, something about the fact that you can drive for 12 hours and still be in Texas. You know what I mean? Just, where I could be, get on a plane and 12 hours later I can be in Brazil. You know what I mean? Like, I just,
exactly.
I just feel like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it feels futile to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, am I ever going to freaking get there,
Well, unfortunately, I have to carry samples around with me that would be literally impossible for me to fly with.
Right,
so.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
but
like I said,
I
I guess
still,
like
yeah. I mean, Dallas Metro's got traffic just like LA now.
oh sure, yeah, no, Dallas is super fast growing. It's one of the reasons I moved out here. I lived in LA for 25 years, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I wanted to be, you know, in an area that was, you know, because of all the traveling, I'd be a little bit more centrally located, you know, as far as like the nation goes.
Yeah, you got DFW and Love right there. I mean,
yeah,
you got good airport.
You know, it's a good hub for all of that and so on and so forth. But you know, it's like I wanted to be in a big city, but out of the rat race of LA too, you know. So I thought Dallas was a good fit, you know, especially as I grew up here in Texas, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my old jiu-jitsu instructor is in Allen.
Oh, okay,
So,
nice.
Yeah, he's right up there.
Okay,
and,
that's awesome, man.
I got aunt and uncle live in Plano. I got cousins that live in Denton, cousins that live in North Richland Hills, friends that live in Paradise. So.
Oh right, yeah, but you're actually in LA though, right?
Yeah. I'm based in Redondo Beach, and then like I said, my territory is basically San Francisco down to the border, and then all the stores in Hawaii.
Oh, well, Hawaii is definitely nice.
Well, you know, it's just like you. Like, you know, when people go, oh, like, what's the best place you get to travel to for a Comic-Con? What's the best one?
Oh, well, shit, man. There's a lot of them, man. I've been to Brazil a bunch of times, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, like they have a huge, you know, pop culture fan base there. You know, so they love.
What about Japan?
I've been to Tokyo before too. That was amazing. You know, Amsterdam is super cool. Paris. I've been to the UK. I can't even count how many times. I've met 15 times or more now to the UK. You know, Australia, New Zealand. Man, there's so many cool places, you know.
Yeah, and Hawaii is the same way for me, but it still works.
Right. Yeah, and Hawaii actually. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, for some reason my wife always says she's available to go with me when my trip takes me to Hawaii.
Oh right, yeah, naturally, yeah. Oh, conveniently, I'm ready, yeah.
But I'm like,
well,
because when I go by myself, it's like I go to Oahu for one day. I'll land, do my appointment, fly to Maui that night. Right. The next day, do my appointment in Maui, fly to the Big Island the next day, or that night, do my appointment the next day on the Big Island, fly to Kauai the next day, do my appointment in Kauai, and then fly home. That's how I used to do my trips.
Right.
So, you know, if I went by myself, it's a work trip. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
I did some fun things.
Now all of a sudden you're kind of stuck a little longer there, and I would imagine, you know, because she'd want to like be a little bit more centrally located in one of those areas.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: when you go to Brazil or Australia, do you ever book in an extra day or two to go see the sites?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. Anytime I do overseas trips, I tell them they've got to, you know, fly me there a few days ahead of time so I can get some time to acclimate from the jet lag and get to spend some time in the city and stuff, you know. So any trips I do take, I don't get to stay like a really long time, but I get to stay a few days, you know, either before or after to kind of check things out a little bit, you know. Because it's like, you know, hey, I'm who knows when I'll get that experience again, you know, especially when it's somewhere I haven't been before. So
that's what I try to do too. You know, I remember when my daughters were in high school. They're now graduated college, but I'd come back from like Mount Rushmore area, you know, Rapid City, and they'd be like, "Hey, what was it like?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I went there, did my stuff, and came home."
Right.
And then I was like,
so you don't get to see the sites at all.
Yeah. So now I do. I try and book in. I'll book in a half day or even a full day if I can, just to drive around and go to the museums or see all the things that everyone talks about, and going to like Portland or.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, you got to take. You know, you got to say to yourself, you know, you might not get an opportunity to see this particular city again, or maybe not again for a long time, and so you want to try to maximize for sure, especially since if you've never been there before, you know.
Well, no, I learned that lesson the hard way. I went to Gillette, Wyoming, for a rodeo, and I think it's about 30 to 40 minutes away is the Devil's Tower, which is the big mountain from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Right. Oh yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'll come back and see that again, and I haven't been back yet. Yeah, I know, right? That's exactly. You know, and I just I was, you know, kind of fortunate that like when I realized I was going to start doing this touring kind of stuff, you know, I just had the foresight to say, hey, you know, when I do these overseas trips, you know, I need an extra few days for sure. Yeah.
That's,
well, I would think just for the jet lag too.
Well, yeah, well, that's the other thing too. I mean, I think the first time I went to England or whatever, that jet lag hit me so hard, and I had to be at the show and I was just like exhausted, And it's like, nope, never am I going to fly in again on a Thursday,
for a Friday morning deal,
for a Friday morning gig. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. You sound that's exactly what I would have done too the first time.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what? I'm showing up at Thursday night and I'll be fine Friday morning. It's like, no, it's totally different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not the same.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you're traveling, sorry, but when you're traveling, how do you fill the time? Are you listening to music, podcasts, movies, reading books?
Yeah, I mean, on the long haul flights, I watch the movies and, or I will definitely try to sleep so that I can get, that I can try to like adjust a little faster. But usually I'm watching movies, or sometimes if I do have projects, like there's been times, where, I've got like I did a movie that's out on Amazon now, called Beast of the Water. It's kind of like Predator kind of movie,
Okay.
Anyway, it's like so if you ever don't care about an hour and a half that you can't get back, go ahead and watch it. But so sometimes I'll be reading scripts or things like that from time to time as well. But most of the time it's especially now that I'm here in Texas, the flights are a bit shorter now. So
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
watch a movie and then I'm done. I just came back from New York, from the New York Comic-Con, which is like one of the biggest ones in the world. It's definitely one of the top 4 or 5 biggest ones in the world, and that was a great experience, And so I definitely went a couple of days early and hung out in New York for a couple of days as well too before the show started, and so that I love doing that. I love going to New York.
Well, I had a total bias, a bias against the comic cons. I read comic books, but I wasn't a comic book guy. But
right.
Then my nephew actually made his own comic book. He's an artist, and so I went to the one in Anaheim.
Oh, okay,
Comic-Con,
yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. It's like it's not just comic stuff. It's
Yeah, no, it's everything pop culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Comic-Con is a generic word for sure. You know what I mean? It's not just comic books. It's everything that's like superhero genre and anime and Game of Thrones and Star Trek and Star Wars. I mean, it's everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people love to get dressed up. And a lot of times, like some of these people, they're like, maybe in the rest of their lives, and in the rest of the world, they're sort of outcast a little bit, but there's a place for all of them to kind of come together and realize that they're not alone, and, and that's kind of how it was for a long time. And now it's become so mainstream that it's like, everybody goes, you know what I mean? Like it's a cool thing for people to go to, it's not just for nerds anymore,
I couldn't see anybody that's over 40. And I'm over 50, but I couldn't imagine anybody that's not over 40 that couldn't go to one and see something that they related to, watched, or whatever.
Oh, of course, yeah, absolutely. And if a promoter's smart, he brings a nice variety of guests. Guests meaning the actors or celebs or artists that that appeal to that kind of those types of genres. So it gives people a really good diverse group of like, oh hey, there's Buck Rogers. Oh hey, shit, there's
that's Gil Gerard and.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah, exactly.
Lou Ferrigno was that one at the Anaheim one. I'm like,
yeah, Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, so I've met Gil and Lou hundreds of times. You know what I mean? All really nice fellas. That's the other cool thing about doing the cons for me is that I'm a fan of stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And so to get to meet some people that I admire, is also very cool. And not only do I get to meet them, but I'm back in the green rooms with these guys.
You're with them, yeah.
I mean, like we I'm on a sense they're peers. You know what I mean? Which is pretty
Absolutely.
cool. And there's just an automatic acceptance, which is kind of cool as well too. And I've been developing some really good friendships with some of these people.
That's neat. I mean, that's networking on a different level. But
yeah,
I work
right, exactly.
I work in the rodeo industry, and it's like my friends that are world champ cowboys.
Yeah,
And and you meet them, you go out to dinner with them, and you're like, they're just normal guys, But then when I go to the events, everyone's stopping them to get their autograph and take pictures and this and that. You're like, oh,
right, exactly. Yeah, you get to see it. You get to see a different side that the other people don't get to see, and it's very cool. But at the same time, you are feeling the same way that those fans are, but you get to get something special that they really don't. So that's
exactly.
Cool.
It's very cool. Well, hey, man, I truly appreciate the time. I don't want to.
Oh, yeah, no, that's great, man. No, it's really nice talking to you. I appreciate it.
And do you have any plans coming up for LA?
No,
Okay.
not yet. I'm actually doing a con later this month in San Francisco, but I think we have a big Power Ranger convention that we do every other year in Los Angeles and in Pasadena actually, and that's not going to be till August of next year. So
we're on the off year.
Yeah.
So
the Power Morphicon. If any of the people that are listening, if you guys are Power Ranger fans, and you want to meet basically every single Power Ranger that's ever been on the series, there's going to be about 100 of us there.
Wow.
You should definitely come and check that one out. And it only happens every other year. So if you're in the LA area in August 2020, you guys should definitely come check it out. It's a lot of fun if you're a Power Ranger fan, because you get to meet all the voices of all the villains and all all the different series, the different seasons, and all the different actors from all the seasons and stuff like that. And there's some great panels, and there's a lot of producers that come and talk about all the kind of behind the scenes things, and of course they always announce the new season, of who the next incarnation is going to be, and they bring that cast out. And so, if you are a Power Ranger fan, you'll definitely want to come and experience that, because there's nothing quite like it for Power Ranger fans.
Well, what's the best way for my listeners and your fans to follow you?
Yeah, I have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, but mainly
okay.
I just mess with Instagram mostly. So if they just go to Steve Cardenas PR, as in like Power Ranger, they can you can follow me there, and I'm posting up constantly, daily almost, about all the different places that I'm going to be and stuff,
Okay.
It's a big way for me to let the fans know where I'm going to be at and stuff. So, I've got a con this weekend, like in Tennessee, and then I think the next weekend after that, it's Waco. I can't remember. Then I've got a big one in Rhode Island, and a few others. So anyway, yeah, we bounce around a lot, but it's a lot of fun. I definitely enjoy the travel, but I travel this as much as I do because the fans have been so dedicated for so long. You know what I mean? They've never stopped loving us for 25 years, and they come out all the time. You know what I mean? So I want to try to give back to them as much as I can as well too. So if you follow me on my Instagram, you can find out where I'm going to be, and I might be in a city coming near you. So please, by all means, come by and say hi. And then you can tell me that you heard about me on the podcast.
Yeah, well, I'll have to do something for my guests. Some type of giveaway or something. I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we can put something like that together, man. If you want to do, like, we can give the fans a little sign, like a little Red Ranger action figure or something like that. We can put something like that together.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe we could do something like that. I haven't done something like that yet.
Yeah, sure, no problem, brother. You got it, man. We'll we can even have Kathy set all that up. No worries.
Okay. Well, hey, like I said, I appreciate the time, man. Enjoy your time off. I'm the same way. It's just funny. 2 days ago, I left to go on the trip. I'm up in Northern California right now, and my neighbor's like, "Hey, so where are you going this week?" I'm telling him, and he goes, "What about next week?" I go, "Well, next week I'll be in San Diego. What about the week after that?" The week after that I'll be home, but then the week after that I'll be in Las Vegas for the bull riding championships. Then I'll be home, but then I have to go up to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the same. Yep. You're preaching to the choir.
Cool, brother. I appreciate the time, man, and I look forward to you. And again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely welcome, man. Take care, man.
Thanks, Steve.
All right.